Hello, my dear friends. My name is Harold, and welcome to the Sanctum, your gateway into learning and exploring the ancient teachings of the East and the West. If you're new to this channel, please remember to click that subscribe button and the bell icon and click the like button. It'll help this channel grow. So in this particular video, it's going to be the second video in the series about spirits. And in this particular video, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about earthbound spirits and how earthbound spirits can influence us, what earthbound spirits are, my own experiences with earthbound spirits, as well as the other people that I've worked with who have been affected by the influence of these particular spirits. So watch till the end of the video if you want to get this comprehensive understanding of what this exactly is. So first of all, what is an earthbound spirit? So I've already spoken about what a spirit is. Now, an earthbound spirit is, as the word says, a spirit that is bound onto earth. Okay? So we itself as human beings are a spirit that is trapped inside a body because we need this body to experience reality. Now, what if we lose this body? If this body, eventually all of us have to lose this body. When we lose this body, what's left is the spirit that is within the body. Now, naturally, according to yogic philosophies, Tibetan philosophies, philosophies from around the world, this particular spirit can move on, whether that is going to a higher plane of existence or going into or transmigrating into a wheel for reincarnation to continue on with a specific cycle, whichever it might be, the spirit is leaving the body. Now, an earthbound spirit is specifically an individual who has died traumatically or in a way where the energies of the body were not able to transmigrate or shift properly and have gotten stuck or bound in a particular place, right? So for example, let's say somebody died very traumatically in a house. Let's say they were murdered or they killed themselves or something absolutely horrendous happened to them. It was so shocking that their energy body, their subtle body, was scattered into the astral loci. So astral loci meaning the actual space within that particular area that they died in, but the energy was scattered to affect the astral dimension or astral plane. There is no concrete definition of astral. It's just a subtle plane to define where energy could exist or where spirit could exist in some way, or a transitionary realm that leads to subtler planes of awareness that is superimposed on the physical dimension. All right. Now, when the energy is scattered there, the individual's energy is not able to cross, and the person is stuck there and therefore becomes an earthbound spirit. Now, this is often what people would call quote-unquote ghosts, and oftentimes people can be influenced by a particular earthbound spirit. Now, earthbound spirits usually are mindless, meaning it's almost as if they're just attracted to a certain kind of energy or attracted to certain areas, but they are fixed within that particular space in which they died. But if an individual walks into that particular area where there might be an earthbound spirit, and the earthbound spirit, there's a natural resonance energetically to that particular person, the earthbound spirit might naturally latch onto the person. It's not because they have the will to latch onto the person, but because there's a person there, and for whatever reason, it's just attracted in that direction and can get attached onto that person. And if it gets attached onto the person, now the earthbound spirit is able to, in a way, live through that person. And that person may even begin to experience psychological states of mind that were experienced by that particular earthbound spirit. So, for example, if that earthbound spirit was somebody who had very violent thoughts, the person who the earthbound spirit is attached onto may also start to have violent thoughts, even though that's not in their nature, for example. Or if the earthbound spirit was a very angry person, this person might start to get angry. Okay, so now let me tell you a little bit more about my own experience with earthbound spirits. Now, first of all, there was a period of time in my life, many years ago, where I used to have this thing that just suddenly came about, where I would get immensely fearful. Like it's almost as if an immense fear would just take over me, and I didn't know what was going on. There was nothing wrong, nothing was really happening, and there was no particular trigger. I would just get immensely fearful, as if somebody was going to kill me or completely destroy me, and I really didn't know what this was. Then one day, I was in Sri Lanka, and I met a mystic there alongside my partner, my girlfriend at the time, and she had scoliosis, which is a crooked spine. And we saw this mystic, and this mystic was quite an incredible person. He was able to know everything about our lives and each and things that nobody else could possibly know. Anyway, he healed my girlfriend at the time, and overnight her spine realigned itself. It was miraculous. But also then he looked at me and he was like, there's a scared old lady wrapped around your leg. And I was like, what do you mean? And it was like, there's a scared old lady wrapped around your leg. You walked into this space and there was an old lady there, and she felt safe in your energy because she died because her husband beat her to death, and she died very traumatically, and she was in that area, and you walked in and she felt very safe in your energy, and she wrapped around your leg. And then I was like, this is absolutely preposterous. And then he sort of brought her out, and immediately I would feel that immense fear. I essentially became an old lady that was about to be beaten to death. Right? It was quite peculiar. And keep in mind, this was all happening in a restaurant in Colombo, Sri Lanka. Just a restaurant with other people just having their lunch and stuff. And this guy was just doing this from across the table in the corner of the restaurant. It's quite strange and unbelievable. But anyway, he brought this spirit out, and I could feel that fear just taking over me, and I became like this old lady. And then he did something, and he brought down what I could describe as light, and then tears started flowing down my eyes, and I could feel this thing just leave. And ever since that moment, I never had that experience of the fear, overwhelming fear, ever again. It just never happened. It was quite remarkable. Okay. So anyway, from that point onwards, I started to look more into this kind of stuff and all of that. And I found a teacher who was able to teach me a particular kind of therapy called spirit release therapy. And now, alongside a particular person that I work with, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of clients now which have had these particular incidents with earthbound spirits. And a particular incident that I will share with you was this gentleman who I had been working with for a while in the past with something else and using hypnotherapy, and we've solved his problem and all that. A couple of years later, he contacts me saying that he has a problem. That he had moved into this new house, and as soon as he moved into this new house, suddenly, he was never the kind of guy who would drink, but he would just uncontrollably just start drinking every day, drinking like insane amounts of alcohol, like bottles of whiskey and mixing it with beer, and would get completely blackout drunk every single day, and he didn't know what was happening. So immediately I thought, that's interesting. So we did some spirit release on him, which is a technique that involves the use of hypnosis to find if there's anything attached onto the person, right? And we found that, this is going to sound absolutely crazy, but we found that in the house, there was a person, an old man who lived there, and he drank himself to death. He was just so depressed, in such a low vibration, that he just drank and drank himself to death, and he died in that house. And his energy was still there. And this guy had a certain energetic resonance that was somewhat similar to him in other aspects. So he grabbed onto him and started to take in the alcohol which he needed through him. Right? So we found this out, and we did spirit release, and we released this earthbound spirit into the light so it can move on to wherever it needs to move on to. And ever since then, he has not had a single sip of alcohol. And also later on, he did some research and he found out that this was true. There really was somebody who died in this house and he drank himself to death. So it's quite peculiar to know that there are likely things that are unseen, that we're not aware of unless we open our awareness to these things, that may be even causing psychological disturbances, energetic disturbances, emotional disturbances, and spiritual disturbances, and causing havoc in our lives. And we just may not be aware of that. Right? And there are many people who talk about spirit release and about the influence of subtler energies on our lives as well as on people. So that was the purpose of this video. I wanted to share with you these experiences and what earthbound spirits are. And now, of course, take all of this with a grain of salt. It doesn't mean that there are earthbound spirits in your home or anything like that. But know that even if there are earthbound spirits, they can't really harm you if you ensure you do a protection every single day, which is where I would suggest doing this protection up here. That will link you to a video on a protection that I now do every single day. And it's something that many of my clients and students do every single day. I recommend them to do it. And this will prevent you being influenced by earthbound spirits as well as other spirits that you may have accidentally come in contact with in your daily life. So once again, if you enjoy this, please click the like button, please subscribe, and I hope to see you again very soon in the next video. Thank you, take care, and I shall see you very soon. Peace.